everyone, you're listening to the Tea with Tanya podcast, and I'm your host, Tanya Ambrose. I'm a public health professional by day and your average tea-loving millennial and content creator by night. My goal for this podcast is to share public health stories, self-love and wellness tips, to educate and empower and to promote positive living. This podcast is here to serve you. Join me in the tea tasting room to see what I have brewing for you. Hey, welcome to Tea with Tanya, a podcast where we have conversations about public health, self-love, health, and wellness. If you're a new listener here, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you and can't wait for you to be on this journey with me. If you are a returning subscriber or listener, thank you so much for rocking with me and for coming back to listen to the podcast. Now, before we get into today's episode, I do want to say Happy New Year. By the time you should be listening to this, it would be the second week in January. I know there's a rule that says after the first week, you should stop telling everyone Happy New Year. But this is my first time you guys are hearing my voice. I want to say Happy New Year, and I hope this year is a successful and abundant year for you and you achieve all your goals. Now, before we get into today's episode, I want to talk about my unexpected hiatus. Again, I feel like this is the second time I've spoken about that, but in the spirit of transparency, I am going to tell you why I took a break that was somewhat unexpected, but at the same time planned, and what's going to be the way forward consistently for Tea with Tanya. My last episode uploaded was in October of 2022. Although I've had episodes that were already recorded, ready to be uploaded, that was scheduled, there was just something in me that made me decide that I wanted to start recording or stop uploading episodes until I was in a much, much better mind frame. And that's not to say that I was, down or I didn't have a plan. But to be quite honest, guys, when I first started this podcast a little year and a half ago, probably almost 2 years now, which is crazy, I had a particular goal for my podcast. I am a public health professional. I am a doula. I am a founder of a nonprofit. I'm so many different things, and I wanted my podcast to reflect that. I wanted to bring you guys into my world, even though the goal was to educate and empower and have fun. I wanted to bring you guys into my world while we have fun and while we learn and while we were on this journey to live in a much more positive life. And for some reason, I just felt that the podcast was not doing that. And while I appreciate the reviews and you guys, coming into my DMs or tagging me, and of course, as the young folks say, gassing me up, I do appreciate that, because there are some people who every Tuesday when an episode goes live and they listen, they come back to me in WhatsApp or on Instagram with some sort of feedback. So, you guys that's why I'm still here standing. But I had to be honest with myself, and I knew that I could get my podcast to another level, or to the level that I wanted it to be. And I had to dig deep, because I'm this person when it comes to social media or content creating. If I'm uploading, let's say, a picture or a reel or whatever it may be to social media, if my energy behind that picture or that video or whatever the content may be is not 100% right, or even in alignment with the content for that particular day, I'm not going to post it, because for some reason I think that the content is not going to do great. And I've tested that theory. So sometimes, even though some posts are scheduled, or some may be scheduled but not actually scheduled in a scheduler, but it's set to be published a particular day, if my energy is off and I don't feel right about something, guys, I'm not going to post it. And that's how I felt about my podcast. I've recorded some great episodes solo and with guests, but for some reason, I just was not feeling it. I was not feeling that my podcast was on the level that I want it to be, and that I know it could have been, and of course, where it's going to go going forward. So that's where the break somewhat happened. After my last episode, I was like, you know what, let me I had to dig deep. I had to dig deep, and I had to think, I had to pray, I had to write. And this is where we are. I came across an amazing company, an amazing woman on social media, and I scheduled a consultation, and she runs a podcast editing and a podcast retreat. She does so many different things, and if you have a podcast or you wanted to start a podcast, I'll put the link in the show notes so you can reach out to her. But definitely, I came across her on social media by way of someone else that I followed, and I scheduled a consultation with her. And the minute I had that consultation, it was a 15-minute consultation, and I think went over a little bit, but you know what? I'm a talker. And I just felt good about what we could create or what we could do after utilizing her service. And I decided I was going to go forward with having or booking what they call a podcast reset retreat. Shout out to Amelia at Softer Sounds Studio. Let me tell you, I've never heard of a podcast retreat. You're probably thinking, a podcast retreat? What is that? But nevertheless, I did that with her, and it was like a three-hour day of planning content and the visionary and marketing, and it does everything you can think of that you would want someone to help you as you try to become more aligned with your podcast. And it's so amazing that this person that I never met, I was just telling her all my goals and plans for the podcast from the past to the present, the future. She had a really thorough onboarding process as well. And she was able to bring my vision to life, like legitimately bring my vision to life as it relates to the podcast. So definitely want to say shout out to Amelia at Soft Sounds, because we're here with a new and improved podcast. You guys might even see a change in the title of the podcast, even the cover art. I am just really ready to step into my full purpose and take this podcast to a different level. And of course, have you guys on this journey with me as we elevate and as we continue to live a much more positive life. You know, the goal is for me to incorporate every aspect of who I am, while we inspire, while we educate, while we empowering ourselves along this journey. So, with me saying all of that, because I know I said a mouthful, and this episode is supposed to be short, but nevertheless, with that being said, in the year 2023, things will look a little bit different on the podcast. Like I said, you may see a different name, still same Tea with Tanya, but you may see a subheading. You're going to see so many different things. But nevertheless, in the year 2023, the podcast is going to look a little bit different. My goal is to have fun and to educate and to empower and for us to grow together. So this year, I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I am going to be trying, and I'm happy to introduce this to you guys as well, a theme series on the podcast. What does that mean? Each series is going to be comprised of 3 to 12 episodes per theme. So it's going to be a different theme, and you guys are going to know what's going to be coming. We're going to be talking about different things on the set theme so that we can also, grow together. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Each theme will have a focus. We're going to have a focus theme that we're going to talk about. We're going to explore. We're going to learn, because I don't know everything. And of course, some is going to be solo, and of course, some will be with some amazing guests who will be here to educate and empower us. So that's definitely the plan for 2023 with the podcast. I'm looking forward to that. I've recorded some very, very amazing episodes, both solo and with amazing guests. I'm looking forward to trying this new theme series. I hope you guys like it, because this is something new that I'm introducing to the podcast. And I think it's going to allow me to be, more mindful, more intentional, and a bit more consistent with my content by trying this new strategy. So I am looking forward to that with you guys. So now that you guys know what's coming, let us get into today's episode, I'm just going to briefly talk about it because I have so many amazing episodes coming up over the next few weeks. But we're going to be talking about mindfulness, just what it is, mindfulness. And I felt that was fitting for us to start the year off, for us to take actionable steps to accomplishing our goals and just to achieve a much more positive and abundant life. And I said the word abundant because I'm not sure if you're one of those persons who you set like a mantra or quote, or you have different words for yourself for the year. I've seen people have like a word or a phrase per quarter so that they can try to achieve something. And for me, and I'll share it here, I have 3 words that I'm working on that I'm taking on for 2023. And those words are rebuild, abundance, and consistency. I feel like I'm in my rebuilding stage in so many different things because I've been through so many things. I've made so many dumb mistakes, and I'm ready to, and I've been using the latter half of 2022 to really and truly find who I am, be more honest with myself, and just be more intentional with what I allow in, and of course what I put out. So those are my 3 words. It's going to be rebuild, abundance, and consistency, because I definitely want to rebuild my life, rebuild this podcast. I want to be consistent and hope that, by doing that, there'll be an abundance of listeners, supporters, not only that, but just in my everyday life, in my personal and professional life, rebuild. All the mistakes I've made, it's time for me to be rebuilding my life so that I can achieve and accomplish the goal that I want. And of course, yourself, whatever your words may be, that you can work towards achieving your goals. So we're going to talk about mindfulness. This is something that I've been doing consistently, probably the only consistent thing that I've been doing in my life the last 8 months or so. And I know you're thinking, oh, here she goes talking about mindfulness, or what is mindfulness? And I'm going to tell you exactly what mindfulness is, as I did my research and I found it on a website that's called mindful.org. And they explain mindfulness as mindfulness is the basic human ability to be fully present, aware of where we are and what we're doing, and not only reactive or overwhelmed by what's going on. So yet, no matter how far we drift away, mindfulness is right there to snap us back to where we are and what we're doing and what we're feeling. It's a basic human ability to be fully present. Again, so mindfulness is the basic human ability to be fully present and aware of where you are and what you are doing. You know, you've probably heard at some point in life that mindfulness or being mindful is an essential part of having a happy and healthy life. And I think from my experience, I had my father ask me a question, and the answer that I gave him, I remember him saying, Tanya, didn't I not teach you to be mindful of what you're doing and to be careful? And when he said that, that's kind of where the theme originated from as well. Because when he said that, I was like, wow, I am 32 and here was my dad. The very things that he has taught me growing up, here I am again doing something that I shouldn't have done. And because of that, the question he asked me, didn't I teach, the importance of being mindful? So definitely being mindful is an essential part for being or achieving or having a happy and healthy life. Some of the things that mindfulness can help you with, it helps with your mental health. So when you spend your entire life running around, worrying about things which may or could be happening in your life at present, and of course in the future. And if you're like me, I am always in the future. And that's when I decided to start being more mindful with the things that I'm doing, because I am always in the future. And it took me away from being able to truly live and appreciate the present. Like, I have been so deep into the future, planning for the future, planning this, planning that I became overwhelmed to the point that I thought that I had like ADD or ADHD or anxiety. Like, I had to go get a referral from my doctor to get tested to see if that was the case. Turns out that's not the case. I still think they're wrong. But we have another podcast episode talking about that. But definitely, you definitely want to stop trying to think so much into the future and learn and try to celebrate and be much more present. Because when you spend time worrying about even the present, about the future, we end up having or running into some mental health issues that we now know, or we now know what tools we may or may not be able to use. So when you aren't necessarily mindful of yourself and how you feel, it's easy for you to become stressed. And again, that may have an effect on your mental health. So when we talk about mental health, the conversation of mental health is becoming more popular in society. And one of the reasons why also many of us are suffering with different mental health issues is because we're not being mindful, or we're not realizing how to use the tool of mindfulness, Another thing, according to the website, that they say it helps with, mindfulness boosts creativity. So not only does it help to maintain or give you or help you with your mental health, it also helps you with your creativity. And I think that for me, that's what I experienced as well when I started my mindfulness practice. And I'll share some of the things you can do to practice mindfulness. But I remember when I made a decision that I was going to be consistent with practicing mindfulness and what mindfulness looked like for me, what it meant for me. And I realized that, even through taking that unexpected hiatus from uploading podcast episode, I had to dig deep and started practicing more meditating, more journaling, just being more intentional. And then that's when my creativity came back from what it was prior to me taking that break. So definitely, you want to make sure that you are knowing that it helps with your creativity. It helps your mind to be clear. And then, of course, you can sometimes help with avoiding memory loss, because that's something that I dealt with as well. But ever since I started my different practices, I've seen a drastic improvement as it related to my memory. And the next thing, mindfulness keeps you healthy. And we're all on this journey. Well, I'm not going to say we're all, but majority of us are on this journey to a much healthier life. And I would hope if you're listening to this, that's one of your goals for 2023, to have a much more healthier life, however that may look for you. Whatever having a healthier life means for you. So mindfulness keeps you healthy. There's some physical benefits. You can do yoga, your deep breathing. So definitely you wanna consider, when we're talking about mindfulness, these are some things to think about. What it does for you, what it's going to do for you. It's going to help with your mental health. It's going to help to boost creativity. And it's definitely going to keep you healthy. So it really plays a vital part in our lives. The goal is for us to have a positive life, for us to have a happy and healthy life. And mindfulness does that for you. And it becomes a habit. And when you set your intentions, when you're intentional with what you're doing, what you're putting in, you can boost your mental health. You can boost your creativity. And it also makes you feel much better physically as well. So I want to talk about what I do to practice mindfulness. And then, like I said, we're going to have another episode that's going to talk about that on a much deeper level. But for me, let's think about having a mindful wake up. And that means, every day should start with a purpose for you. You should be intentional about how you start your way. So a mindful practice that you can do when we talk about mindful wake up is to set an intention. For me, I get up in the morning, I drink a glass of lemon water. Some days it's just plain water, depending on how lazy I'm feeling or if I have access to lemons in my house. I'm drinking a glass of water. I'm saying my prayer, but before I do that, I try to take 3 deep breaths. Sometimes you're just waking up. I either lay or I sit, take 3 deep breaths, and then I start my morning prayer. I start my morning meditation through a guided meditation app that I use. And then I also do my journaling. Sometimes I do journal during the day, in the morning, or I'll journal at night, or sometimes I'll journal twice in a day. So that's what I do in the morning. So the first thing you should do before checking your phone, because I used to be guilty of that, and sometimes I am still guilty, but I have come a very long way with doing that, because I'm thinking to myself, okay, my phone has my alarm, and then when I get up, there's the Bible app that's on my phone, there's the meditation app that's on my phone. So ideally, I just cannot get away from my phone. But what I do now is put on my do not disturb to come off at a certain time. So while I'm doing my morning devotions, no one can ideally disturb me from that peace in the morning. So you definitely want to sit in your bed. Think about a mindful morning. Sit in your bed or chair in a relaxed posture. And then just try to close your eyes and connect with the sensations of your body. Take 3 long breaths in through your nose and then out through your mouth 3 times. You can also create your own rhythms. And definitely what I do is ask myself, what are my intentions for the day? And sometimes you can also, if you need props, and I'll put the link in the bio of some props you can use for when you're setting the intention of your day. But definitely want to have a mindful morning that starts your day with a purpose. However that may be. Some of you, it may be going to the gym, having a nourishing meal. But for me, I do my journaling, my devotions, my morning meditation, my deep breath just to center myself. Sometimes going for a walk to connect with myself before taking the phone and having a conversation with some people. Because what I do realize as well, when I break out of my routine and end up responding to a message from the night before prior to me doing my morning routine, it throws my days off. And I didn't realize that until I realized, I'm like, why do I feel this way? Because my routine that I've established and had been doing it for a consistent time, or been doing it consistently, has been thrown off. So it throws my whole day off. And then it takes me, because I'm a different person, it takes me a while to get back on track. So you definitely want to think about how you spend your morning. So be mindful of your morning, as we're going to say, mindful wake up. And definitely the next one is going to be mindful eating. Some of us talk about having to change our diet. I know for me, I need to be incorporating more fiber in my diet for so many different reasons. But you also want to make sure that whatever you're putting inside your mouth or in your body is nourishing to your body. And I found this article on mindful.org as well that said, breathe before eating. And I know sometimes to me, I'm like, I'm eating. I don't even think I'm being mindful to know that I'm actually breathing while I'm eating. So instead of chewing without taking a breath, you want to breathe before eating. and then you can pause, slow down, and allow for a more calm transition to our meals instead of rushing. Sometimes I'm at work and I'm rushing to go eat, or I'm eating while working, that I forget to breathe while eating. That's crazy. So you definitely, when it comes to mindful eating, you want to breathe before eating. You want to listen to your body. So after breathing, bring your awareness to the physical sensations in your belly. Do you feel how hungry are you? How much more do you need to eat? So you definitely want to listen to your body and eat according to your hunger. So now that you know how hungry you are, you want to eat according to your hunger. Because I know for me, sometimes I eat with my eyes. I'm hungry, yes, but I eat with my eyes, and I'll pack my plate up really, really high or with a lot of food. And then when the time comes for me to eat that food or eat whatever the meal is, I oftentimes don't eat it off because, again, I was eating with my eyes. I wasn't listening to my body. I wasn't being in tune with what my body was telling me as it relates to how hungry I was or I am, and then also me eating according to that hunger instead of thinking, oh, I'm going to be this hungry. So that's another aspect of mindful eating. And you definitely want to practice peaceful eating. And that was something that I tried to do. You definitely want to slow down, still continue breathing while you're eating, and take your time to savor the meal that you're having. Sometimes many of us, if we're in the workforce, we're either eating throughout our lunch break while we are working, or we're rushing to eat to get back to our desk or to behind our computer, whatever the case may be, so we can get back to work. So sometimes our food is not even digesting the way that it should. So think about practicing peaceful eating. Definitely want to think about that. And then, of course, there's mindful workout. You want to be able to activate your mind as well as your muscles. So if it means that you can go on a ride on a bike, or you can go for a walk, or you want to lift weights, whatever it is, they do say that working out really has an effect on your mental health. And let me tell you, I can attest to that. I have not been consistent with my working out, but whenever I'm working out, I eat the healthiest, or I feel the best. I can eat. I can have consistent bowel movements, but that's TMI right now. We will have another conversation about that. My body just feels so much better. So when you work out, you're also activating your mind, and you're improving. You can see how much better you feel. Sometimes you may be sad or upset or stressed about something, and you get a workout in, and you see how good you feel after that. So you definitely want to think about mindful workout and see how you can incorporate working out into being mindful, and not just trying to, lose weight or burn calories. You just want to make sure that you're in tune with your body and what your body does as you work out. You want to be clear about what you're doing. You want to make sure that you're warming up. You're not going to just jump into working out. You want to have a rhythm. If it's going to be, okay, I'm going to work out 10 to 15 minutes, that's fine. But be mindful of how long your workout is and what does the particular workout is going to do for you. And that's all I really do have for you guys. So we spoke about having this new series where we spoke about mindfulness, the importance of mindfulness, and how it helps with your mental health, how it boosts your creativity, how it helps to keep you healthy, how to go about having a mindful wake up, where you want to be able to make sure that you have a morning routine. Of course, every morning may not look the same, but you want to have something that's consistent. You want to set an intention before you start your day. You want to talk about or consider mindful eating. Be mindful of what you put into your body, making sure that you're breathing before you're eating. You're listening to your body to see how hungry you are, and then you're going to eat according to your hunger. And of course, practice peaceful eating. So we're no longer going to be eating behind our computers while we work. We want to make sure that we can take our time to have our meal and allow our meal to digest the way that it needs to digest. And then we talk about mindful workout, which is to activate your mind and your muscle. So you can go for a walk, you can ride a bike, you can do lifting weights. Whatever you do, there are, a physical activity. Again, we say mindfulness help you to become healthy. So you want to make sure that you are being mindful of the types of exercises that you're doing or the workouts that you're doing. Make sure that you have a clear aim as to what you want to do. You want to make sure that you're going to be warming up before you just jump into any sort of exercise. You want to have a rhythm, and you want to be able to have a goal as to how long you want to work out for. I am no workout guru, but I will have somebody in here talking about that. But yeah, these are just some practices you could have for mindfulness. You can do so much. You can start with journaling. If you're a person that likes to write, you can journal how you're feeling. Sometimes you don't even have to have a clear direction as to what you want to write about. Or mindfulness practice could be that you do yoga, you practice breathing exercises in the morning, or it can be that you have a app that has like guided meditations or guided journal prompts that can help you. And guys, I will say this here, I'm definitely going to put a link for you to download some journal prompts for the month of January and some affirmations. And of course, be sure to sign up for our newsletter. That way you can have these straight to your inbox without no issues. So sign up for the newsletter. You can click that in the show notes to sign up for the newsletter. So you won't miss out anything, but definitely we are going to do that. Focus on mindfulness throughout this series. The next few weeks, we're going to be talking about a lot of different things as it relates to mindfulness. We're going to talk about mindfulness in pregnancy, mindfulness in our mental health and reproductive health, mindfulness in our careers. We're also going to tackle as well the importance of meditation. So many good topics this series. I am so excited for you guys to follow me in this new journey as I try this route with the podcast. Please remember to share this podcast with a friend, a family member, and of course you can share it and tag us on our social media. I do want to thank you guys again for listening, for tuning in to Tea with Tanya as we start our first series of talking about mindfulness. I hope you like this episode. If there's anything you think I can change or I need to add, please feel free to leave a review or send me a message on social media. Before I go, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter so that you can get the guide with the monthly mantras, the mantras for January, the intentions, the journal prompts for January, so we can all be on this journey together. Hold each other accountable and try to practice mindfulness in many different ways and different areas of our life. So definitely want you to subscribe, like and review the podcast. And definitely I am looking forward to being on this journey with you guys. It really does feel good recording this episode, knowing what's coming in the future episodes. So definitely want to thank you guys. And I will see you back here in the tea tasting room. Have a good day.